From trashing the gimmick belt and saying it's for bums, to promising to give it up if he ever wins it, this is Islam Mackachev opening up about the BMF belt. And this guy has no interest in the BMF title. The Dagestani is known for going after titles and records, but the baddest title isn't on his list at all. Why would it be? He has got the lightweight gold to his name, so a shot at the gimmick belt is the last of his worries. This guy's got a big title to defend. Mackachev said that the BMF title's for bums and athletes who are unable to win a real championship. The athlete said it's Dana White's way of hyping fights without real titles on the line. You know, just a little something for athletes to look forward to, and while many fighters on the UFC roster are hyped for the title, Mackachev isn't falling for it. He's so against the title that the Dagestani said he wouldn't even touch it with a 10-foot pole. Now, it isn't that bad. The BMF title is a pretty fancy one-of-a-kind belt, but again, it's nothing compared to Mackachev's lightweight title. So I can see why he hates it. And let's be real, he wasn't lying when he said it's for fighters who can't reign their weight classes. Dana White first introduced the title back in 2019, when Nate Diaz locked horns with Jorge Masvidal at UFC 244. I'm sure you remember the epic clash between the pair, because it made all the buzz in the fight world. And the BMF title added the extra spice, just like the UFC president hoped. But get this, the belt was introduced because White knew Diaz and Masvidal couldn't bag the welterweight title. They both went after the title and had no luck. Diaz had his lightweight title shot all the way back in 2012, when he went against Benson Henderson, and lost via unanimous decision. Masvidal has his sweet shot at the welterweight title too. But he lost to Kamaru Usman, not once but twice. Yeah, Usman's not an easy one to take down. But just because these two never got to wear a belt, doesn't mean they weren't one of the best fighters on the UFC roster. Plus, they were fan faves too. Come on, Diaz was the first fighter to slam the brakes on Conor McGregor's hype train, and Masvidal's got the record for the fastest knockout in UFC history to his name. So White knew what he was doing when he put these two in the octagon together, to fight for the BMF title. And as you probably know, Masvidal got the win for that one. He's kept a hold on his precious belt since then, but now that he's retired, it's up for grabs again. And White said that a lot of fighters are trying to get a shot at it. And I know for a fact that Mackachev isn't one of them. Let's be honest for a second, the fight world kind of forgot about the BMF title. Yeah, no one remembered it. Except for Masvidal, of course, so you know that it's not really the most sought-after title in the game. Dana's got a different view though, and he said, they all want to fight for that belt, so it's fun, it's different. Now, I don't know who he was talking about when he said fighters are dying for the title, because get this, Mackachev isn't the only one who thinks it's for bums. It's funny how White said, everyone wants the belt, because the athletes going after it couldn't care less about it. Oh yes, White found the perfect fighters to go after the belt. I'm talking about Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje, who are set to lock horns at UFC 291. Come on, even you gotta agree that this is the best Dana could have gotten for the BMF title. Poirier and Gaethje first stepped into the octagon together at UFC Fight Night in 2018. And even though Poirier came through with a fourth-round knockout, there was some unfinished business between them. Gaethje was dominating all the rounds before he was sent crashing to the canvas, so it was pretty close. And that's exactly why it was the fight of the year. Fans had been asking for a rematch for years, and now that it's finally happening, it's set to be the fight of the century. But here's the thing, is the BMF title hyping the fight? Well, not really, because this fight would have been hyped as hell anyway, thanks to their epic first clash in the cage. Here's where Mackachev's words come into play again. The belt's for fighters who can't be champions. There's no denying that Gaethje and Poirier are both one of the best fighters in the UFC. Yep, the fans absolutely love watching these two in the cage. But get this, they both haven't had the sweet taste of a real championship. Don't get me wrong, they've both been interim champions before, but that's about it. The pair have tried to make a run for the title shot, but they just can't seem to come through. Both of them can't find a way to take down Khabib Nurmagomedov and Charles Oliveira to get that title shot. Good thing that the winner of the upcoming clash is not only going to get the BMF title, but might also get a shot to take down the champion himself, Mackachev, in the cage. Yeah, because these two are the only ones he can fight for a fresh fight, unless he wants to lock horns with Oliveira for a rematch. But you know, fans would love a fight with the winner of the BMF title more. Islam thinks it's gonna be Poirier, because that's what happened the first time. Yeah, the champion thinks not a lot has changed since, and the Diamond is still the better fighter between the two. Gaethje won't have anything new to bring to the fight, and when it all comes down to a boxing match, Poirier's gonna take the win for sure. He's the best boxer in the lightweight division after all, so that isn't gonna be surprising. But hey, the highlight isn't one to be taken lightly. He's got redemption on his mind, and it's the only thing he cares about. Yeah, the BMD belt isn't appealing to him either. If anything, Gaethje thinks it's... I mean, what's even the point of the gimmick belt? Gaethje said that it took him a while to understand the true meaning of the belt, and he originally thought it was dumb when Diaz and Masvidal fought for it. But if you look closely, the BMF title is a belt, and getting it makes you a champion, at least in the eyes of the UFC. Yeah, the fight world doesn't care for the belt. But you know what you get when the UFC thinks you're a champion? Big money. If you know anything about the UFC, I'm sure you know that it pays peanuts. But the BMF title winner is going to have his name up there and get paid close to what the real champions make. That's good, right? It adds some value to the belt at least. Gaethje wasn't excited fighting for it at all, but you gotta admit, the part where it'll increase your paycheck makes it interesting. So even he's a little hyped for it. But still, his main focus is getting revenge for his loss at their first meeting. The belt's just gonna be an add-on. Poirier, on the other hand, he's got different view, and this guy's a fan of the title. Now we know who White was talking about when he said fighters are dying to get the belt. It was Poirier. This is the Diamond's ultimate plan to get all the belts, and he already has the interim belt. So this gimmick belt's definitely next on the list, before he goes for the undisputed title. Come on, his transformation in the UFC has been epic, so it could be his time to shine. The athlete wants the BMF belt to hang up in his living room, and I'm sure it'll look good. He doesn't think the baddest title is. He wants it, and he wants it bad. Plus, he doesn't have any losses to avenge since he never lost to Gaethje, so the belt's the only thing that's keeping him going. And if he wins it, we know he's getting a shot at the lightweight title. But hey, don't even mention the BMF title in front of Mackachev, because he's never gonna fight for it. He hates it a lot and wants White to stop using the belt to get PPVs. The Dagestani said, "Honestly, if someone gives me this belt tomorrow, I don't want this." Maybe he doesn't have space in his living room to hang the belt. Or it's gotta be something personal, because this guy's against the title like no other. Well, we've gotta see if he ever changes his mind. So there you have it, Fight World. From promising to give the gimmick belt up if he ever wins it, to trashing it and saying it's for bums, this was all for Islam Mackachev opening up about BMF belt.